This meeting is being recorded.
Hello and welcome to a Open at Leisure video, and this time we're going to have a look at cycle mapping software. In all my videos I usually say that I'm using Cycle.Travel to create the route, and then I'm exporting that route via Komoot to my Garmin device because it is easier to do so via Komoot, which allows it to use its own appropriate mapping software on the device itself rather than going direct from with a GPX file from say Cycle.Travel. And my experience of doing that direct from Cycle.Travel wasn't very good, so I prefer, it's better for me to create the route, send it as a GPX file somewhere, pick it up from Komoot, and then send it to my device automatically. However, we need to look at the pros and cons of using various cycle planning software, and specifically in this case I'm using the software from web browser. I'm using Google Chrome web browser here just to show you what it looks like, and I'm using a specific example here for four types of software, four software items. So this, what you currently seeing is Cycle.Travel. Then we'll look at the same thing on Komoot. Then there's Bike Map, and then I've picked up Mapy, which is a Czech software that people have referred to as an item that they use as a fourth type. There are other softwares, but I'm aware of one, but it is purely an app based, it seems. Trying to find a website for it didn't give me anything, so it seems to be purely app based. So I can't refer to that particular one, which I think is called Maps.me. I'm using exactly the same examples throughout to illustrate, so you can see the differences at basic level, and if I can show different views, then I will. So this is Cycle.Travel. The route is specifically from Reading railway station to Newbury. That is what I've put in, as you can see, from and to point on the directional statements. So this is any type of cycle activity. You could ask it to give it to you as a paved only, as a gravel route, or just as other routes that are already being created. And even, as you see, there's a night thing. And I just told it to give me a route. As you can see, it has actually given me a route from the station following predominantly a UK National Cycle Route 4, or in actual fact Eurovelo 2, from the station to Newbury. As you can see, there's Eurovelo signs, and as you can see this is National Cycle Route 422 here, and National Cycle Route 23 by here. National Cycle.Travel shows you this, which is why I refer to the National Cycle Routes, and as you can see here and here, some longer distance local cycle routes. So this one has specifically picked up National Cycle Route 4 or Eurovelo 2 as the preferred route to take you from Reading railway station to the centre of Newbury. It also shows you, as you can see over here, that paved road is 2.8 kilometres, paved path is 10.7 kilometres, and an unpaved park is 19 kilometres. And that unpaved path is therefore this greenish colour, which is predominantly following the Kennet and Avon Canal from the south of Reading all the way to just before Thatcham, where it diverts off there and goes back onto a paved path and paved road, which are more darker blue and purpley looking colors. So it tells you that the length of this route is 32.5 kilometers, and it expects to take 2 hours and 32 minutes for that. So from that you can work out that the average speed that they expect for you to take that is probably about 12-13 kilometers per hour. I think that's quite realistic, given the type of services you're going over and everything else. Other interesting things with this, as far as you can see, is that it does give you the ability to show up other things en route or just off the route, should you be looking for it. And that's, for example, this thing here, which is actually, as I say, looks like an inverted V. Actually, it means it's a campsite. And also the other thing you see is that there's these yellow markers that tells you the number of kilometers that you've done, that you do up to that point in time. So it's 10, 20, 15, sorry, 10, 20, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So that's where you get the 32.5 kilometers from. And if you then zoom in, using the plus sign, of course, it will still then, it'll go to a situation where you can see how it goes kilometer by kilometer. But again, you can see exactly the route that it's following. It tells you where the railway stations are, the fact that there's toilets there, for example, here, where cafes and places to eat food and drink are, car parks, and whatever else. So that's another reason why I like Cycle.Travel to some extent, but you have to zoom in, unfortunately, to see all this stuff. But it's there. You don't have to, besides zooming in to see it, you don't have to manipulate for you to see this thing. So therefore, you can drag and drop your route and create other, as I said, you can create other route, off route from it. So for example, if I did want to go from cycle route 4 on to 1422 here, all I'd need to do is click on that and drop it there, but I'm not going to, because that's going to change whatever. So that is effectively what Cycle.Travel gives you. Over here you got layers, so you can look at it as OpenStreetMap. Another view. So that's the 4 views of the map that you can get of Cycle.Travel. Then you can save the route as a PDF, save the route as a GPS or GPX really, so that you could save the file, and therefore from that you effectively can import it to another website or app. Show elevation. Let's click on that, and there you go at the bottom of the page. You can reverse the route, and you can undo if there is something to undo. There's also this thing about find hotels and campsites near the route or overnight. So if you were to click that, as the overnight would be at Newbury, it would therefore show hotels basically that are there, hotel, camping and chain. That's quite close by to the end of the route at Newbury. And therefore it would give you a little bit more as you expand it out. So that's Cycle.Travel. It is mainly a UK and European product as far as I can see. As I say, it does refer to Eurovelo routes as well. So in my view, that's a really good product, and that's why I use it. for my routing purposes. From that, we're going on to the item I do use for then exporting it, and that is Komoot. This is the map, and a lot of people use Komoot for their mapping purposes, so you can see it on their routing videos. It gives you the option of, let's say, you can do multiple types of sport, from hiking, running, and various forms of cycling, including hiking. How you define your fitness, from untrained to average, good shape, athletic, and pro. That this is a one-way route, so you could, if you wanted to, come back on yourself. And therefore, waypoint A was originally put in as Reading Railway Station or Reading Railway, and then it found it. And point B was put in as Newbury. As you can see, this has generated a slightly different route to National Cycle Route 4 and Eurovelo 2 that Cycle.Travel gave me. It doesn't give me, on first view, those routes. So I can't see those routes just besides this route. I can try to zoom in, and it gives me the, I'm sure if you've done any Komoot webinars, they will refer you to these key points. And that's probably the best thing about this, is that you can plan, you can change this, therefore, to be a National Cycle Route 4 by dragging it onto things like that with these pictures that show you what it looks like at these places, and you could therefore change it. But in a, as I said, in a straight get me from A to B, this is the route it chose, and therefore you then require some manipulation to get you onto the equivalent of the Cycle.Travel. So this one is taking 2 hours and 9 for 31.3 kilometers, 90 meters of elevation, 60 meters of descent. If I go to cycle thing back, it doesn't officially tell me, well, it does here, 40 meters up, 11 minutes down. So you can get it when you do the click on the elevation button there. So you do get the same information, but you get it on the elevation button. It's not instantly there. So ups and downs. The 3 buttons there, they allow you to turn off followays or to reset, reverse the way, and add waypoints if you therefore want to add waypoints. And that will happen if you manipulate this route. For example, by dragging and dropping it, it will create a waypoint in between A and B. Nice thing is you can see north and south as a compass point. You don't need that. You can recenter it, zoom in, zoom out. Plan in 3D. I don't know how useful 3D is. I don't really use it. And then you've got the map options down here. So this is a free version. I don't use premium. That's why I'm not referring to Strava at all in this. But they do therefore offer a satellite map version, and there it is. Again, how useful that is, I'm not sure. Yes, it is nice. You can see when you're going through the color of green areas and whatever. But hey, it's a choice. I'm not here to say one is better than the other. I'm just showing what's different. So these are premium. If you want to pay for the mapping service. The one thing I do have on Komoot is I did pay a flat fee for worldwide mapping. That's the one thing about Komoot that I got that I'm not sure about everything else. So notionally, anywhere in the world I can plan via Komoot. Okay, on to the third one, which is my bike map. This is what bike map does. Again, in planning it, I asked it to go from Reading railway station, and it's taking me to a specific place in Newbury, even though I only put in Newbury. Again, it allows you to do waypoints and reverse. In this case, we're down to something called balance, so we can do cycle paths farthest. A lot of these are, again, stopped by cycle paths, and all the rest of it are stopped by you need to have a premium subscription. Apply to the entire route. And if we go down, again, it's saying 1 hour 52 in this case, 32.8 kilometers, so therefore it's a faster average speed. 241 kilometers of ascent with 208 of descent, because as you can see, this is again a very different route. It doesn't take you along the canal, it takes you up through Bradfield and then down through Bucklebury and that way. So this is where the ascent and descent is going to happen. Again, it says asphalt or paved, in other words, 24.9 kilometers, paving stones 0.4, concrete virtually nothing, and undefined is 27.4. 7.1 kilometers is on a national cycle route network. 1.9 is on a local cycling route, and other is 23.8 kilometers. So it does tell you some nice stuff, but it's slightly limited in just doing a single route from A to B. Again, map settings. We have the basic map. That's stopped. We can see a satellite and OpenStreetMap. So let's have a look at the satellite map. Nope, doesn't allow you. OpenStreetMap doesn't allow you. Well, it is okay. Okay, that's basic. OpenStreetMap's the default version, and basically everything is otherwise that. It says show global heat map, which I've got enabled, so notionally it should therefore show you where other people who have logged in have done routes before, and therefore gives you some semblance of this looks a good route in comparison to others. That's bike map. Finally is Mapy, which as you can see is a Czechia mapping company. And again, this is exactly the same. I've done a few things here on which I'll get to shortly. Again, Reading Station to centre of Newbury. It's given you options, unlike the others. The 31.7 kilometers, which they say will take 2 hours and 9. So again, we're talking about that 13, 14 kilometer per hour speed. But they're giving you 2 other options if you wish to look at them. There's one, and there's the other. So, gives you the options in one place. As you can see, it does cover a number of methods of travel. Again, search and log in. I'm not logged in this case for some reason. Again, allows you to save, share, export as a GPX or GPS, whatever you want to call it. But as you can see, there's some items further down here which allows you to put in temperature and wind. There's the altitude profile. So it's going up 126 meters and down 96. And like the others, in some cases, it does give the routing underneath in a more precise way. That shows the photos that are available on the route. That will show if there's any webcams on the route. So there's the aerial view. So it's quite similar to the other aerial views you've seen previously. This one, as you can see, gives you a lot of traffic. If there's anything to say. There's a traffic view. And as you see, there don't seem to be that issue with maps, but the options are being, if I look at aerial, it's really the aerial map anyway, so you don't have to. And there's the outdoor map. Just again gives you more information, almost I say, with local cycle routes as well as the national cycle route. So in some ways, if you go on the outdoor map route view, you get something very similar to the Cycle.Travel, perhaps even better than Cycle.Travel, to be honest with you. So that's Mapy. As I said, I'm not going to give a recommendation or whatever, but that's for you to decide and for you to use. But as I say, Mapy is a Czech and therefore much more. It's a more international focused thing. I think Cycle.Travel is quite very good for Europe. Not sure about elsewhere. Komoot is everywhere, but it does not seem to give me the national cycle routes and other cycle routes, defined cycle routes as a thing, which is why I use what I use. And at that point, I'm going to close the meeting and say thank you very much and hope to see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.